Good morning, everyone. Today's date is the 13th of February, 2025, and the time here in Ireland is 4 minutes past 9 in the morning, I have to say. So, the piece of good morning, everyone. Good morning. So, the piece of music that I'm playing, I have permission from the man himself, Elijah Ray. It's called A New Earth. A New Earth is Rising. I felt inspired this morning to come and connect with you, to come and talk, to come and say some things, feeling very inspired. So I'm actually going to take a minute to have my coffee and let you enjoy the music just for a few minutes before I start talking. Okay, so morning, everyone. As I was saying, that beautiful piece of music that touches me so deeply is a song by Elijah Ray called A New Earth or A New Earth is Rising. And I do have permission from himself, Elijah Ray, to play that on my videos and interviews and anything I'm doing. So some things I wanted to share this morning, just random, various different things. I woke up this morning with an idea to do either weekly or little daily videos, something along the lines of coffee with Soma. Because anyone that knows me well enough knows that I do love my coffee, especially in the mornings. I do love my coffee. So I may do that. Um, yeah, I think that would be really nice. Something else I'd really like to do, that, and I may get there, is to do kind of lives with a group of people just in the morning. Um, that would be really lovely. I'm craving connection more than ever and really wanting to connect in on live videos and sometimes even randomly, like let's do it now, or let's do it now, let's do it now. And that doesn't seem to be happening at the moment, but perhaps in the future that might be more um, doable. So, but I do love connecting. So some of the things I wanted to share with you, I've a lot going on in my life. There's some things I wanted to talk about, and it's just random things. So yesterday I saw a post that someone had posted, and there was a real angry feeling with it. Really, real angry. And there was some other feelings that I'll come to in a minute. But it was a post about spiritual people and um and how they shouldn't or we shouldn't charge for our services. And there was a lot of connotations with it. There was an angry element, and that was obvious, very obvious. And he was very angry in the post, saying that people, spiritual people or gurus, he even called them gurus, and it's become a negative. The word guru has become a negative. There's a negative connotation with it. But anyway, he was saying, I don't know his name, and I probably wouldn't mention it if I did know it. I think it was Jeff something or John or Dick or Harry. I'm not sure what his name was, forgive me. Um, and Dennis, I'm saving you these little biscuits. Um, oh, I hope I'm allowed to do that. With the name of the biscuit and all. Sure, no doubt then they wouldn't mind. So anyway, yeah, this post I saw yesterday, and forgive me, I haven't posted for a while. I've had a lot going on in my life in January and still, and I've had the rug dragged from under my feet again. So I've a challenging time and a challenging time ahead of me for the next month or so. Yeah, till the end of March. It'll be challenging, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But this post I saw was about how his opinion was that people shouldn't be charging for spiritual services. And I used to be in the same belief as that. I really did. I used to believe that spiritual people shouldn't charge for the services. And the reason I believed that is because I was kind of I was taught the belief through my training in the spiritualist churches, mostly in the UK, because we don't really have them in Ireland. But that was a belief that I was taught by the teachers there and the people involved in the spiritualist churches, mostly in Edinburgh, in Scotland. And their belief was that filtered down into me and my energy and vibration and beliefs. Their belief was that you shouldn't charge for the spiritual services, whether it's healing or readings or mediumship or whatever it is you're doing, even the galactic stuff. Because a lot of you will know I work with and channel the Pleiadians and mostly Ashtar. So the belief was back in the day, around 2000, when someone said to me, one of the mediums at my local church, who very, very good healer, Jackie, her name was, beautiful soul. She said to me, people shouldn't charge for the healing because it's a gift given by God. Which is true. I believe it's a gift given by God. There's more to it than that. There's also the past lives and abilities filtering down from one lifetime to another, and the soul contract and all of that stuff and karma. So we have healing abilities for different reasons. It's also innate within all of us, I believe, as is the psychic. The mediumship is kind of a different thing, a different story, but the psychic and the healing is innate within us, as is telepathy, and other abilities such as the astral plane and the ability to leave our bodies during the sleep time or the dream time. So anyway, the belief was and is with some people that spiritual people shouldn't charge for the services. Except I believe that's a very flawed perception, because the world we live in has been, society has been set up. We've really been set up on a grand scale. We've been conditioned to live a certain way, to work 9 to 5, to leave school, to get a job, to get a career, to meet someone, to get married, to have kids, to have a house, to settle down. And we're kind of coming away from that concept now. Um, but we've been set up on such a grand scale, and every every everything else is charged for. Everything. Doctors, lawyers, politicians, TDs, school teachers, footballers. I mean, the amount that footballers get paid is it's it's crazy. The amounts, millions, billions, thousands, even for the smaller known ones, the lesser known ones. And yet, so the way society has been set up and engineered and maneuvered by, I believe, negative ET energies who are running at the top every system on Earth, whether they be reptilian or whoever, whatever label we give them or name we choose to use. Every system is being run by negative ET energy. And yet some people are still in the belief that spiritual people shouldn't charge for their services. And I used to believe that. I don't anymore, because I've kind of grown up and got wiser and more experienced, and I'm more aware. And I've learned a lot of things over the years, and I'm more aware now and more conscious and more awake and more aware. I'm not perfect, and I've still got things to learn and things to experience and challenges, and that's also another thing I wanted to address this morning is perfection is an illusion. Perfection is an illusion that we've been sold to be perfect, and none of us are. None of us are perfect. We wouldn't be here if we were. We wouldn't be alive, living in our physical bodies if we were perfect. That especially includes spiritual people or gurus. I don't like the word guru anymore. It's taken on a very negative connotation, deliberately, I feel. But yeah, so I guess my question to you guys who are watching and listening is, what do you think about that? Do you think that spiritual people should not pay? Um, and if it is the person's mission to teach the spiritual um, things, truths, modalities, if it's their actual mission, then why shouldn't they get paid? Especially if it's their mission. Because how else are they going to achieve their mission if they on a full-time, fully committed, if they're full-time and they're fully committed, why shouldn't they get paid for readings or services or even healing? Because in today's society, we can't really live without money. It's nigh on impossible. unless you go and live in the forest and become kind of isolate yourself and become separate from society. And in that sense, you're not really being of service to your fellow man and humanity. You're isolating yourself in order to be self-sustainable, and that's really that's kind of self-service in a way, unless you are doing it with family and friends and creating a community. That is kind of different. But if you're just going off grid and going to live in the forest, when there's nothing wrong with that, I'd love to do that. But I would still ensure and make sure that I would be doing my mission as much as possible. So, yeah, my question to you guys is, what do you think? Like, do you think we should not be paying, um, not be charging for a service, especially if it's our mission, whether it's healing or readings or astrology or mediumship or channeling? Um, yeah, I'm interested to know where you are with that and what you think, um, because I think we should be charging for it, and I don't think there's anything wrong in doing that. And I used to be of a different belief, but I've grown up um, in the last 20 years, and I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. And yet I have this amazing ability to channel the Pleiadians. And as I look, and I do say amazing because it's exceptional, pretty exceptional. Um, but I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. I have my negative traits, I have my challenges, I have things that I need to work on. And some of them are more of a soul contract level where they run deep, and I really have to work on them. Um, and they're not small things, and I know that I'm not unique in any way, and that everyone has stuff to work on, and some are small things, and some are run much deeper and are more soul contracts. None of us are perfect. Jesus wasn't perfect. Jesus wasn't perfect. Um, and talking of Jesus, I actually work very closely with him. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. Do you think we should not be charging, or we should be charging, and why? And how is that affecting or impacting your life? Are you someone that is of service in giving readings or healings or mediumship or messages or channeling even? And do you charge or do you not charge? And what's your beliefs around that? I'm really interested in knowing how you feel, and um, with the economy being the way it is as well, it's been designed for this time now to be more difficult and more challenging than ever, because it's parallel to the negative agenda have set it up this way, where now these days are very challenging with money, because of the ascension timeline we're on, which does have a positive outcome. I believe that to my core, that there is a positive outcome, and growth is inevitable and essential. Spiritual growth, humanity is changing, and the powers that be, whatever name you want to give them, whether it's negative ET energy or Illuminati or the Cabal or the elites or the whatever you want to call them, to me it's all the same thing. It's all part of the same group, and there may be fractions of that main group, but it's all the same thing, relatively speaking. It's just negative ET energy is what I call them. and that may be quite a um I'm looking for the word. That might be quite a what is the word I'm looking for? A simple way to describe them. Um, but I don't see myself using really. Perhaps I will. Perhaps I'll change my mind. Perhaps I'll change my mind and use a different phrase or term. But I've used that term for so long, it's kind of stuck with me, the negative ET energies. Um, and it kind of covers all bases. It kind of covers Illuminati, it covers the cabal, it covers the elites, it covers all of the negative agenda, the powers that be. So I don't see myself really changing that, although it is a very simple phrase or term to use. Um, so let me see, what else do I want to say? And so I wanted to talk a little bit about my mission. So back in the day when I was trained doing some of my shamanic training, which I would love to do more of, um, we were doing ayahuasca and I had this experience. We were doing a shamanic journey and I had this experience of very, very profound. I'll never forget it. It was a very real experience. Um, and we were doing ayahuasca, I believe, at the weekend. And we were having a group session where we were doing a shamanic journey with drumming and all of that in a group. And we were all lying on the floor in the lounge of the shaman's house in Ireland. And it was a really sacred group. We were really connected very deeply. Um, and I'm still friends with one or two of the people from that course, although I don't keep in touch with them enough. Here's to Claire, if you're listening. Um, and this experience I had, I left my body and I went out into the universe and I went out into the universe and I was with some of my guides and the Pleiadians and I was traveling, kind of slowly moving through the universe and I was seeing stars and planets and suns and moons and the night sky and it was just beautiful. It was just beautiful experience. And then the next kind of section or phase of that was I was shown my mission and why I'm here very clearly, very profoundly. And I was told and shown that part of my mission here on Earth this time is to channel the Pleiadians. I'm very honored to do that. Really, very honored to have those gifts. I've been very blessed in that way. There's been other areas in my life where I haven't been so blessed. And there's been a lot of lack in those areas. But that experience left a very, very deep rooted, it's solid knowing, a solid knowing that nothing can shake that from me ever. I'll probably carry that memory for as long as my soul exists, which is forever. It was so profound to my core. Like I'll never forget that experience. I know my mission this lifetime. If I know nothing else, I know that one thing about me, that I'm here to channel the Pleiadians. And that is a beautiful thing. I'm very blessed to the extreme to be able to do that. But that's come at a cost, at a price, um, with some very difficult experiences in my childhood. Um, a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse, a lot of poverty, a lot of dysfunction, a lot of addiction. Adults around me, my mum, for a prime example, was an alcoholic to the day she died from her 20s, um, which was kind of brought on, I believe, by a violent husband to the extreme. And like me, she kind of didn't, she did things to the extreme. Um, so I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm very blessed in being able to channel the Pleiadians, truly blessed to my core. But it but I'm not perfect, and it hasn't come without a price and a sacrifices. And I struggle with life sometimes, just like everyone else. I struggle financially. I struggle with um, having enough energy. I struggle with different things. You know, we all have our shit to deal with. We all have our struggles, challenges, strifes, whether it's money or whatever it is. Like we've all got our stuff to deal with. And just because someone is a healer or a channeler or a, a billionaire, like we all have challenges. We no one gets out of this alive. Like we aren't here for the majority of us aren't here for nothing, to learn nothing. We're here to learn, to grow, to experience. And the only way we can do that is is through through the learning, through the experiences, through the challenges of whatever individually we need to learn. So my challenges will be different to others, and so on and so forth. I'm going to try my best to keep this short. I know that I haven't posted for a while. There are some things I do want to let you know this morning. Um, one of them is that my landlord has family relocating back from America. So I need to be out of here by the end of March. Um, and I want to stay in Ireland. And I'm looking at ways that I can do that. Um, some of my background is in creating events and retreats and working in events and retreats centers. Um, so I'm looking for somewhere that within Ireland, preferably on the East Coast somewhere, even if it's inland a little bit, kind of from Dublin down to Cork, kind of on that east stretch. I'm looking for a retreat center, either paid or unpaid, um, or yoga centers. There aren't many in Ireland. There's so few retreat centers in Ireland, mostly because Ireland is such a small country. It's tiny in comparison to even the UK, you know. which is not a huge country either in comparison to America or Russia or some other Africa or continent, South Africa. Um, so I'm very kind of limited in 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 my um, in the retreat centers. So I'm also looking for paid and unpaid work, perhaps paid work as a wedding events organizer, coordinator, because that seems to be the nearest sidestep to events and retreat centers. And of course, I will continue to do what I'm doing, channeling the Pleiadians and offering readings and other services. So mostly readings and Pleiadian channeling. So if you'd like a reading, my email is thepleiadianchild@hotmail.com, and my website is somaarah.love. So if you'd like a reading, I mean, it's my mission to channel the Pleiadians. So I'm always in my element when I get to do that, really. I'm always in my element. I love doing it so much to my core. And sometimes I struggle with finding words that describe enough of what I'm trying to say. Our language has been so changed. There's so many words have been taken out of the English language, of every language. Um, so um, so if you're watching this and you're in Ireland, or you have a friend, or you know someone, or you have a contact, or friends with someone on social media that is in Ireland, and has a retreat center or a room or um, an offering or somewhere I can be. I have a talk coming up in July at a conference, Disclosure Now conference in Florida, which I plan to be in Florida in July. So it's kind of a temporary measure for a couple of months, and it can be a paid retreat job where I get to work with them and get to help them to run that. Yeah, that would be lovely. I'm kind of craving and needing to be physically around other spiritual people, whether it's a retreat center or however that is. Yeah, just really craving being around other spiritual people and also craving nature as well, because I've kind of been overworking myself recently. Although I've taken a step back from posting a lot in videos. The other thing I wanted to mention is I do a Saturday group where I channel the Pleiadians. And we do talk and discuss things. It's a lovely group. There's a lot of positive energy there. And that's on Saturdays, Irish time, Saturday, 7 p.m. Irish time. So if you'd like to come and join that, I'm going to be doing that by donation. So I will put the link in the description box. And if you can't afford to donate, it's okay. And if you can, please do. Please do. Because this is, it really helps. Every cent counts. It really does. It makes such a difference. The other group I have is on a Sunday, which originated as a workshop of 13 weeks. It looks like it's going to continue because the energy is just so beautiful, so beautiful. So that is on Sunday, Irish time, 3 p.m. till either 5 or 6. It's always till 5. Sometimes it goes till 6, but kind of rarely. So it's 2 hours. Um, Originally, it was a 13 weeks, and it was a 13.77 fee to do that. But I am also going to be changing that to donation based. So if you'd like to do either of my groups, and that's where you come and join me on the Zoom. It's not live, it's recorded and then sent out normally that evening or the next day or the next few days afterwards. But those two groups are just amazing, just amazing. And on both groups, I do channel the Pleiadians in different ways, actually, with different energy. Yeah, in different ways. And as I've probably since probably since the beginning, since I began to consciously channel the Pleiadians in, I think it was 2009, 2010, they've they've used me in different ways. They've worked with me in different ways. They've allowed me and given me the experience of channeling them in different ways, which is I find beautiful because I do work in different ways sometimes. And sometimes I'll go through phases, or whether it's a few months or a few years or a few decades of channeling them in a certain way. So let me give you an example. So when I first began to channel them, they turned up. Ashtar and the Pleiadian collective turned up behind me, and I could see them very clearly in my mind's eye, and physically. And I was able to do that because I'd been doing the mediumship since I was a child. So I've always been, since I was in the cot, I've always been able to see spirit and my guides and nature fairies and animal spirit guides and the whole works. Even the Pleiadians, I didn't know who they were as a child. But when I began to consciously channel them in 2009 or 2010, that was how they turned up. And since then, I've channeled them in different ways. I was doing an interview once, a live interview, I believe. Yeah, I think it was live. And at the time, they were always next to me. They've always been next to me. And in the beginning of the channeling. And they were next to me in this interview, and Ashtar was on my right. He was here on my right. And he said to me, close your eyes. So I did. And then he said, within a few seconds, he said, in the space of a few seconds, his words and sentence to me was, close your eyes, we're going to step into your body. So I closed my eyes, and he did. He stepped into my body, and my voice changed. And there was a lot of, and if you want to watch that video, you can. It's still on my YouTube channel. But you can see the background. You can see you physically can see a lot of energy moving and shimmering and sparkling. It's almost like those little tiny orbs you see, or little tiny sparks of light. They're shimmering behind me and moving. You can physically see it. I've watched it back a few times, and it's very visible. It's pulsating energy behind me. So anyway, that was one of the ways that I have channeled them. What else have I done? I started off taking dictation, purely telepathic dictation when I first began to channel them. And then I've worked where they step into my body and use my voice, which is called trans mediumship. Normally, trans mediumship is with trans voice mediumship, sorry. Trans voice mediumship normally is with spirit. but it can be with other beings like angels and guides and spirit guides and loved ones. So and the Pleiadians and other light beings and also other star nations such as Lyran and Syrians. So it's not always just spirit, meaning loved ones in spirit. It can be, different beings um, can step in, and we and can work with us in the form of trans voice mediumship and also transfiguration as well, where you can see the so the being will, whether it's whoever it is, will step into the person's physical body, and you will see on their face change. And again, that is normally spirit or a loved one in spirit. It can also be guides as well. Actually, normally it is guides, but it can be any being. So let me see what else. So I don't always get to comment back to your comments, whether it's in Substack or YouTube or Rumble or so. And I always feel a little bit guilty about that. But then I also let myself off the hook, because if I were to do that, I'd never have any time to do anything else. So please do forgive me if you've left comments and I haven't replied to you. It's because I'm focusing on channeling and readings, and because I'm focusing on those things, I've realized that I can't do it all. But I do focus on on the channeling, which I feel is more important. And forgive me if what I'm saying is upsetting you, but I don't get time to reply to every comment. I do my best, and normally I do get to read all of the comments, and I do value your comments. I do read your comments. I just don't get to the time to reply to all of them. And the same goes with emails. Um, and having said that, I love connection. I do love connection, and I love reading your comments and hearing back from you. And I'm always calling out to people to come and comment, come and like, subscribe, share. So and do come and ask questions if you have questions of the Pleiadians. I still am in a backlog of things that I have said I would do and haven't done yet. And also to add to that, my having to move here before the end of March has hugely impacted the amount of work I'm able to do, because I'm having to focus on finding somewhere else, which is a task in itself in these days in Ireland. Believe me, it's kind of it's serious, you know. I've been looking on Daft.ie, which is a website to find the advertisers' accommodation within Ireland. And I've been looking on there recently, and the places I'm looking at have literally had 8,000 views, which just is shocking. And there's it's just shocking. It really shocking. That's more view. People are looking for more for accommodation in Ireland than they are for a job. Jobs don't get 8,000 views. And these properties are not mansions. These are small studio apartments at the low end of the scale. So it beggars belief that there's such a big housing crisis in Ireland at the moment. And it's not just even about not having the money to pay the high rents. there's a serious shortage of properties in Ireland to rent, which is why so many people are still living at home. No one can afford it, and even if they can, there's no property there for them. So if you know someone in Ireland that would have a place for me to go, or a retreat center, or a yoga center, or a studio flat, or a room, um, and I'm happy to pay. I'm not asking for something that's free, but I really would like to be around other spiritual people. So I think I've said enough for today. Please do come and comment on this video, and also subscribe to my Substack and my Rumble. Those are going to be my two main platforms. I'm coming away from Facebook and I'm coming away from YouTube. So if you're on those platforms and you're connected to me there, you're going to lose your connection to me if you don't subscribe to Substack or Rumble. Rumble is free, Substack is free, but I also have a paid subscriptions and various different ones. So you can subscribe for, I think it's around €7 a month. And then it goes up from there. And so that it's, yeah, and those subscriptions do help pay for my rent. And yeah. So what else do I need to say? I think that's it for today. I love you guys. I really do. And send you a lot of love and blessings. And if you've watched me for a while and never commented or messaged or emailed or liked or shared or subscribed, come and do that. Because I want to hear from you guys. Like, I want to connect in. I really do. And I've learned some big lessons the last couple of years. And my approach or my energy or my perception to my work and how I'm doing it, how I show up, has changed over the lot since 2019, most definitely. And I feel it's going to continue to do that in a very positive way. So having said that, I do, having said that, I do believe I'll always be a private person and need a private zone within my life. And if it wasn't for the Pleiadians and my channeling them, I wouldn't be public at all. Which does have its benefits. It definitely has its benefits, being a public figure and being out here on the precipice or the bleeding edge, as Esther Hicks always used to say. I don't know if she still says it. The bleeding edge, not the leading edge, but the bleeding edge. It's funny. I haven't seen any of her posts for quite some time. So the reason I am mostly on Substack and Rumble is because they are uncensored. There are videos I post on there that get taken off every other platform. So come and subscribe to my Rumble and my Substack. My Substack is Soma Arah. My website is somaarah.love. My email is thepleiadianchild@hotmail.com. Rumble, I believe, is also Soma Arah. Um, I've you can also find me by, I believe, by Googling, or so the names I've used are Carol Noonan, which is my birth name, and Soma Arah, or the Pleiadian child. So if those are the three ways you'll find me on social media. And I've all the usual suspects. I've Twitter or X now, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, LinkedIn, and MeWe as well. I have a MeWe, and yeah, I have many others, but those are the kind of the main ones. Okay, so I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm going to go and have a nice cup of coffee, and I hope to be doing a couple of these um, a week. But my emphasis at the moment really has to be on sourcing accommodation, because at the end of March, I have to be out of here at the end of March, and I've been extremely worried um, what I'm going to do, where I'm going to go. I've no idea. I've been applying for several jobs, actually hundreds of jobs, not several. I've probably applied to over 300 at the moment, um, and started to look at places. And I want to thank you to everyone who's helped to support me in doing that. There's one in particular person that has been um, just a fucking angel, just an angel, a godsend. Like I don't know what I would have done without her. And you know who you are. I'm not going to mention your name, but you've really, really helped me, and I'm eternally grateful. Eternally grateful. Okay, guys, so I love you. I really love you, and I'll see you soon. Come and join Saturday group, come and join Sunday group. They're both open now to receive donations. And if you can't afford a single euro, then they're free. Just give what you can. If you can afford a euro or three or five or seven or 20 or 30 or 100 or 200 or 1,000, whatever you can afford, whatever you can afford. And if you can't afford it, it's okay. I'd rather you be there and with no donation than you not be there. I really want you to know that very seriously. Okay, guys, so I'm going to stop talking, and I love you so much.